From time to time, I meet someone I don't know, and if they learn I'm a minister, one of the first things they ask is, "What do you people believe?" Now, sometimes that question is asked out of genuine curiosity. What do you people believe? And sometimes the question is more like a challenge. What do you people believe? Well, I've tried several different answers. One of them, we believe that God is all there is. Now, that requires far too much explanation. Ditto with, we believe in a positive spirituality. Well, what does that mean? For some people, a positive spirituality means they're positive you're going to hell. Usually, what I say is that we teach and practice spiritual principles for successful living. But of course, that raises the question of what success is. And that's what we're going to be thinking about today. However we define success, we want to know the best way to live that success. What are the qualities that lead to success in life? Well, we could say that being raised in a nurturing family with plenty of love, support, and education would give people an advantage. But that head start in life only carries you so far. The rest of the formula is up to you. The columnist Earl Wilson wrote, "Success is simply a matter of luck. Ask any failure." To which Woody Allen added, "The only thing standing between me and greatness is me." Well, here's an interesting success story. Sven was looking for a job, and the local Lutheran church was looking for a janitor. So he applied for the job, and he heard that the people were very pleased, and sure enough, he got a call saying, "You have the job. Just sign this paper." Well, Sven made a big X on the paper, and they asked, "What is that?" And he said, "That's my mark. I cannot read nor write." "What? We're sorry, but to work here, you've got to be able to sign your name." Well, Sven finally got a job as a mate on a tugboat, and in time, through hard work and careful money management, he became captain of his very own tugboat. And his business prospered, and eventually he owned a whole fleet of boats, becoming one of the wealthiest men in the community. And one day, the mayor decided to honor him by giving him the key to the city because he had set such a good example for others and showed them what they can accomplish with hard work and ingenuity. So at the ceremony, the mayor said, "Sven, before we give you the key to the city, just sign your name on this certificate." And Sven made a big X on the paper. "What is that?" the mayor asked. "That's my mark," said Sven. "Your mark?" "Yes, I can't read or write." The mayor scratched his head and said, "You accomplished all of this not being able to read or write? Just imagine what you could have done if you could read or write." And Sven said, "Oh yeah, I could have been a church janitor." Well, if I were to ask, how do you feel about success? Chances are you'd say, I feel great about it, or I want it, or I want more of it, or maybe I deserve it, or perhaps I'm working towards it. Most people feel that being successful is a good thing. And they think of material comforts, happiness, and achievement. And certainly success can include all those things and many more. Your concept of success may not be the same as mine, and that is how it should be. Also, your definition of success today may not be the same as your definition was 10, 20, 30, or more years ago. So if you want to be successful in life, the first thing you should do is take some time to decide exactly what success means to you. Never mind what it means to anyone else. What does it mean to you? When we talk about a successful person, we may think of someone famous, someone who's written best-selling books, or maybe someone who wields political power. And to some people, the epitome of success is earning a lot of money. But having a lot of cash is more about flash than substance. Many financially successful people are very unhappy in their personal lives. So once again, we ask, what is success? Well, if you ask people who are generally considered to be successful, many of them will tell you that professional achievements are not what makes them feel accomplished. Richard Branson, the founder of the Virgin Group, is worth about $5 billion, give or take 100 million or so. And he says this about personal fulfillment. Too many people measure how successful they are by how much money they make or the people they associate with. In my opinion, true success should be measured by how happy you are. Billionaire investor Mark Cuban claims you don't even need money to be successful. He says, to me, the definition of success is waking up in the morning with a smile on your face, knowing it's going to be a great day. I was happy and felt like I was successful when I was poor, living with 6 guys in a 3-bedroom apartment, sleeping on the floor. Maya Angelou said, success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. And Stephen Covey, whose blockbuster book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, continues to sell hundreds of thousands of copies every year, said this about success. This is my favorite. If you carefully consider what you want to be said of you at your funeral, you will find your definition of success. Having your own personal definition of what success means to you is your first step toward a life of fulfillment, peace, and joy. Striving to succeed based on someone else's standard may win you the admiration of others, but it will never bring you a sense of personal accomplishment. However we define it, we know that much of our success is determined by our habits. Most of us recognize the bad habits that keep us from being all that we can be. Well, if bad habits can keep us from living our best life now, it follows that good habits will help us achieve success. And so it is that ancient spiritual principles and cutting-edge research all agree that success or failure is very largely the result of our habits. In a study published a few years ago by the National Academy of Sciences, researchers followed over 8,000 men and women for years to determine which life skills most directly contributed to their health and success in life or lack thereof. And what they found was that those who had successful, wealthy, and happy upbringings weren't necessarily the most successful, happy, or healthy once they grew up. Instead, it was people with specific personality traits who were the healthiest, most productive, most successful. And these traits helped ensure that they were fulfilled internally, where it really counts, rather than externally. So here are the top 5 traits, the 5 keys, if you will, that lead to a fulfilled life. They are emotional stability, determination, control, conscientiousness, and optimism. Emotional stability, determination, control, conscientiousness, and optimism. We began with emotional stability. Our ability to keep our emotions in check is one of the most powerful skills we can develop. Researchers at Indiana University found a direct connection between emotional stability and success. Those who were more in control of their emotions could manage stress better, leading to less stress overall. Now, fortunately, controlling your emotions is a skill that you can develop. Just as an example, studies have shown that being exposed to common work stresses at a very young age can have profound effects on your ability to navigate stressful work situations later in life. I like to think of this process as building spiritual fitness, dealing with life's difficulties instead of trying to run away from them, builds spiritual muscle so that we can more easily deal with future problems. It's very much like physical exercise. You can lift a feather boa above your head 30 times a day for days on end, and you won't really do much good compared to lifting 10 pounds and then 15 pounds and then 20 pounds and so on. Dealing with life's problems means that we can learn to cope much better with future life problems. And as a side benefit, spiritual fitness is the best stress reliever out there, and less stress leads to better overall well-being. So, if you want to be healthy, wealthy, and wise tomorrow, you may want to focus on your resilience today. Our second trait is determination. The University of Kent in England conducted a study that identified the top skills employers look for when hiring, and determination was very near the top of the list. Very simply, determined people get things done. So it's no wonder employers want them on their team. Determined people are willing to move past obstacles to reach their goals. And determination plays a key role in optimism as well, which we'll talk about in a moment. Determination also has health benefits. The psychologist Jonathan Klapow says, determination is critical for our health and well-being because the majority of our health and well-being goals require daily prolonged effort. In other words, determination is what enables us to stick to a diet or to a workout routine. Now, not all of us are born with a superabundance of stick-to-itiveness, but it can be learned. And in this teaching, we know that when times get tough, we can muster up the determination to see things through. Our third quality for success is control. Control of what? Well, most importantly, control of ourselves. Dr. Klapow says, as we learn to look at the world as a series of events and situations that we can exert control over, we feel mastery and predictability. And this allows us to remain calm, to be determined, and to take action. One study on self-control followed 1,000 people from birth through age 32. And those who had the highest amount of self-control were less likely to develop health problems, have an addiction, have a low income, or commit a crime. A person with self-control understands that beliefs and actions make a difference. It's not a false belief that we can control everything in the world, but rather the ability to look at situations and challenges and believe that our attitudes and our actions will allow us to cope with anything which may come our way. Control is actually one of our basic science of mind principles. Ernest Holmes wrote that we believe in the control of conditions through the use of this mind. Speaking of universal mind, we believe in the control of conditions. Now, if we are conditioned by our experiences or our environment, we may be like a rudderless ship tossed about by every wind that blows. And we may even be conditioned to believe that we have no power over our situation. But if we are conditioned by the truth, that's truth with a capital T, if we're conditioned by the truth being that there is that within us which can deal effectively with any circumstance, then we do indeed have control over conditions through our use of divine mind. Our fourth quality for success is conscientiousness. Conscientious people are concerned with doing things correctly. They're typically well organized, they pay attention to details, and they're generally responsible. They do what they intend to do, and they follow through on what they promise to do. They are, in the words of the Four Agreements, impeccable with their word. According to the journal Frontiers of Psychology, conscientiousness determines one's satisfaction, income, and success more than most other life skills, including emotional stability and cognitive ability. Conscientiousness is a reliable predictor of academic grades, job performance, marital and relationship stability, and physical health. Determination is often a trait that you'll find in conscientious people, and it's because they're more likely to be aware of what is needed to be successful and stick to those things. And like other success habits, conscientiousness can be cultivated. For instance, try making a schedule for yourself and then follow it daily. It's easier to do than ever now because you can put it all in your phone and it will remind you throughout the day, and get yourself into the habit of sticking to your plan. This is particularly important for those who are retired or those who work from home, because it's so easy to let the day drift away without accomplishing very much. So be conscientious, not only with others, but with yourself. All too often, we tell ourselves that we'll do this or we'll do that, and then we fail to carry through. For years, I had a little plaque on my desk which said, "Never let yourself down. Be conscientious." And our fifth trait of successful people is optimism. This is probably the ultimate key to living the good life. But optimism is poorly understood by many people. Just because optimists believe that good things will happen to them doesn't make them Pollyannas or unrealistic. It means that they're consciously attempting to see the good in everything that they do and see. Optimistic people are more resilient in the face of life's stresses, which allows them to move past negative aspects of their lives more easily. Optimists are statistically less likely to be hospitalized, develop heart disease, have depressed immune systems, and they're more likely, of course, therefore, to live longer and healthier lives. When it comes to future success, optimists are more persistent in achieving their goals than pessimists. I've always felt that even if there were no such thing as a law of attraction, that law which draws into our experience whatever it is that we focus on, even if that law didn't exist, I've always felt that optimists would be more successful, that optimism would be more valuable, if for no other reason than it keeps us from giving up too soon when reaching for our goals. A pessimist tends to quit after a try or two, saying it's too hard or it's too much trouble or this is impossible. The optimist figures that no matter how many obstacles and no matter how many failures, just one more try may do the trick. And that optimism is eventually rewarded. Optimists constantly search for new solutions to old problems. In one study, participants were given puzzles that were nearly impossible to solve, and the most optimistic people tinkered from 50 to 100% longer than the pessimists. And since optimists tend to stick around to solve problems long after pessimists have thrown in the towel, in the long run, they tend to be more successful at work, in relationships, or in any other area of life. Optimistic people do the following things every day. They work on whatever they're passionate about. If you wake up dreading the day and have to drag yourself out of bed to go to work, you're in the wrong job. Optimistic people choose jobs or careers for which they have a genuine passion. For optimists, work is more than just an opportunity for a paycheck. It's also an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to do what you love. Your happiness and satisfaction at work will seep into every other aspect of your life. Now, please note that this principle remains true if you're retired, in which case daily life is your job. So do whatever it is that brings you joy, and you're not only improving your life, but the lives of those in your world. Joy is contagious. Optimists spend time with other optimists. That's one of them phoning in now. Being a cheerful friend or partner is the best way to find one, according to Prevention Magazine. In a year-long study of more than 1,000 couples, positive thinkers and their partners reported greater than average satisfaction in their relationships. And further research showed that the benefits apply to any kind of relationship: marriages, friendships, neighbors, coworkers. The more positive your environment is, the more positive you will feel. And the more positive you feel, the more positive your environment will be. And that's just one of many good reasons to attend our services, our classes, and our social events. Potluck next Sunday. Optimists practice gratitude. Taking time to thank someone can go a long way. In a University of Pennsylvania study, when people were asked to write and deliver letters of gratitude to someone who'd been kind to them, they experienced a big increase in personal happiness. And this happiness lingered up to a full month after delivering the letter. Optimists find new ways to use their strengths. Optimists are creative. They find ways to share that creativity with others, maybe volunteering for a kid's field trip or cooking up a new recipe for friends or family to try. If you don't feel that you're particularly creative, know that you can actually train your mind to think more creatively. In one study, participants were asked to write down their top 5 strengths and then to use one of those strengths in a new and different way every day for a week. And those who did so reported increased happiness for a full 6 months afterward. Are you seeing a trend here? Our success keys are capable of unlocking days, weeks, and even months of happiness every time we use them. Optimists smile more. Smiling does more than make us look happy. It can make us feel happy too. Smiling has a lot of psychological and physical benefits, including lowering stress levels, improving your mood, and helping you make more friends. So the next time you're feeling crabby, your way out may be as simple as cracking a smile. Optimists don't hold grudges. Although it may be easier said than done, learning to forgive can be the fastest track to living a more positive, happy life. The idea here is to make peace with the past so that it won't spoil the present. Think of it as closing a book you don't like and opening one that you do. Optimists write down the good things that happen to them. There are many benefits of journaling, not the least of which is writing down the good things that happen in your life. Even if it wasn't a particularly good day, especially if it wasn't a particularly good day, take a few minutes to write something positive about that day. because just about any situation can be viewed through a positive or negative lens. So if you choose to see from a positive viewpoint, you're not only learning to appreciate the blessings of life, but you're learning to be overall a more positive person. And the really good news is that even if you've always tended to be a worrier, even if you've always tended to throw up your hands in despair after a couple of failed tries, even if you've always thought of pessimism as just being realistic, you can break out of those unproductive ways of thinking. Cognitive behavioral therapy focuses on changing thinking patterns to be more optimistic and productive. And it's been proven that you can become a more upward-looking person, no matter how old you are. And further, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is about consciously changing your thoughts, has been found to be just as effective as antidepressant drugs, if not more so. So, like life itself, success is not a destination that you reach. It's a journey that you undertake. In other words, success is not something you achieve, but something you continually experience. In the words of Carrie Fisher, there is no point at which you can say, well, I'm successful now, I might as well take a nap. The road to success is always under construction. There's a famous passage about success, which is usually attributed to Ralph Waldo Emerson. You've probably heard it many times. It includes these words: success is to laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, and so on and so on. But Emerson did not write it. It was written by a Mrs. Bessie Stanley of Lincoln, Kansas. And I ran across a newspaper article about her essay that was published in the Emporia Gazette of Emporia, Kansas on December 11th, 1905. They wrote, a Boston firm recently offered several prizes for the best essay on the subject, what constitutes success? It was stipulated that the essay must be fewer than 100 words in length. A Kansas woman, Mrs. A.J. Stanley of Lincoln, submitted a definition of success in the contest. It was considered in competition with several hundred others from all parts of the country, and a few days ago, Mrs. Stanley received a check for $250 with the information that she had won first prize. For those of you who may be wondering, the 2024 equivalent of $250 would work out to $8,761.85. All that aside, Mrs. Stanley's essay went as follows. He has achieved success who has lived well, laughed often, and loved much, who has gained the respect of intelligent men and the love of little children, who has filled his niche and accomplished his task, who has left the world better than he found it, whether by an improved copy, a perfect poem, or a rescued soul, who has never lacked appreciation of earth's beauty or failed to express it, who has always looked for the best in others and given the best he had, whose life was an inspiration, whose memory a benediction. And that's as good a definition of success as any that I can think of. It includes the things that truly matter in life. And to live up to this definition would be to embody the 5 essential keys that we've discussed: emotional stability, determination, control, conscientiousness, and optimism. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, used to say that because the law of mind is always validating whatever we think, feel, and believe, then every experience we have is a success. whether we call it good or bad. That is to say, we have successfully manifested whatever it is that we hold in consciousness. Ernest put it this way: if a man believes himself to be a failure and that it is useless for him to try to be anything else, he carries with him the mental equivalent of failure. So he succeeds in being a failure according to law. We all are, always and forever, just what we believe ourselves to be. And if we're not living large, it's because we're thinking small. We're always attracting to ourselves whatever we think about most. It really is true that to learn how to think is to learn how to live. And when we realize that the entire universe is the product of mind, that mind is God, and that it's everywhere present, all-knowing and all-powerful, and that we are made out of that mind with total and constant access to all the divine qualities within it, then we have discovered the golden key to success in life. As long as our thoughts and beliefs are in alignment with divine truth, and our actions are guided by that truth, we cannot fail to demonstrate a fulfilled life. Ernest Holmes again. God is spirit. Spirit is substance, and substance is supply. It is right that we should be successful, for otherwise the spirit is not expressed. The divine cannot lack for anything, and we should not lack for anything that makes life worthwhile here on earth. Everything we do should be a success. Success happens whenever you remember to see the good, the God, in any situation. But what if you don't remember to see that? Well, creative opportunities to learn happen when we forget. And we've had plenty of creative opportunities to learn to see the good in our lives. And we'll have plenty of creative opportunities in the future as well. So develop the emotional stability and determination to control your reactions to things in this upcoming year. And be conscientiously optimistic about what's happening around you. And you'll unlock a wonderful world of your own co-creation. Namaste.